The banner.
Here we go.
Hello, hello.
Hi. How are you? Oh, we hear your wonderful jazz music, Natalie. We have some good background music playing.
You weren't supposed to be hearing that, but oh well.
I just was like, oh, I do. I still heard it. I was really enjoying it, which is why I didn't say anything before, but I didn't know if you wanted to let it play.
Well, it's far away, so I would have to get up. Is it disrupting?
No, I like it. It's
Okay,
fine.
let's leave it.
Yeah, let's leave it. This is how we do, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Now we are having
Welcome.
our conversation, women rising conversation with Natalie and Keyshawn.
The
And
first of our new series, Women Rising.
yes,
So I want to celebrate that.
we're always
Yes.
expanding, growing, creating, co-creating, and we felt a need to address women in particular who are aspiring to leadership, who are in leadership, who experience different challenges that we see come up in our coaching conversations. And so that's what this series will address and seeks to address. And we're excited.
Yes. And we came up with Women Rising because our first series was a new leadership playbook, and we love doing that. We did a number of sessions on that. But this one's going to be really, really kind of honing into the challenges as Kishan just mentioned, women face, and ways we can help all who listen and engage in our content to elevate their leadership and just have new perspectives on the way they see things in their corporate arena. So that's the goal of this series. And this one, Solo and Siloed, we picked it because it came up in our last one of our last lives that we did, and we just had to go with this because it's just such a common thing, a
Yes.
trend that we have seen with clients we've worked with, prospects we've talked to, when we see out here doing their thing, like and there are two aspects. So we're going to get into the solo aspect, the siloed aspect,
Yes.
starting with the siloed aspect first. But first is to give us a brief introduction about who we are.
Yes,
Who
let's
are we?
introduce ourselves. Looks like we're going to dive right in. Let's introduce who we are. I'm
Yes.
Keyshawn Hughes. I'm a happy wife today, happy, happy mom, and I'm founder of Neurosavvy Leadership, which is a neuroscience-based and driven coaching and leadership development organization. So we help both people on the organizational level and individual level with leadership development, finding their voice, becoming more confident leaders, learning how to be inclusive and engaging in the workplace, building healthy organizational cultures. It's work that I love and enjoy. And I'm also the co-creator of the Savvy Sisterhood Circle that you heard Natalie mention. And we'll tell you more about that at the end of our chat today.
Yes. So I'm Natalie Jovity. You hear my accent. I always forget to mention that. I'm
Love
originally from Trinidad and Tobago. I'm an immigrant, first a direct immigrant from Trinidad and Tobago. I am not a wife, but a free and independent woman at this point.
Yes.
And my company is called The Unveiled Way, and I call myself the Brilliance Unveiler because one of the things that I was shown by, the divine is that I see potential, I see possibilities, I see the brilliance, the expertise, the superpowers in the people I coach, and it's just something that I get very readily. And so I work with women who are, typically on the cusp of a big shift, either a shift in their role, a shift in in their their position in the company, or launching into entrepreneurship, or just wanting to get into the higher echelons of leadership. And they are somehow blocked by something, or their own selves, and they need that unpacking and unveiling of who they are. So a lot of what I do is work on the leadership posture, and that's a whole posture. That word is a whole
Yes.
loaded word in itself. We'll get into another time, I guess. And also into what is their brilliance, what is their expertise, what is their shine. And so I'm also an author and a speaker, and I have an affirmation card deck I created called She Shines. So I'm all about women. I also am a mentor at an entrepreneurship community in Maryland. So I think my whole brand is about upliftment, elevation, empowerment. And I just love doing these lives with Kishan because then we get to do our thing together and
Yes.
create this amazing space for us to share knowledge and wisdom and answer any questions as they come, and open the space up to just help people, women rise and thrive, which is why it's called
Yes,
woman rising.
rising. I love that. Thank you for dropping the gems already and sharing what we love and what we're doing here today and our purpose. And to dive right in, just to set the foundation for the conversation, what do the terms mean,
Mm.
solo and siloed? And I just wanted to share our own understanding of what that is and what we're going to address today to help people build bridges to thrive.
Yes. So we want to start with siloed first because it's
Yeah.
something that it's a word that actually came up. Those words came up because Sean said them in the live, and I was like, that is so good. So what is siloed? We all know a silo is like a unit, a thing. I see it as in this case as a box. So when we say a woman is siloed, it's like she has contained herself in a nice, comfy box that makes her feel safe, that makes her feel like I don't have to worry about anything. I'm good right here, and just go deep, deep in down and dive in that box, but not seeing what's possible outside her box. And that looks like she's just so enmeshed in her current work that she's been doing it for years perhaps, but she's not exploring new ways to grow, new opportunities, new ways to stretch herself because maybe she's afraid of the unfamiliar, the uncertain, or doesn't want to. She's a perfectionist and wants to just do it right all the time, whatever those things might be. So she siloed herself because she is now just in one lane, one very narrow lane in her arena, and has not explored other opportunities, not realizing that's to her disadvantage. So let's go into that, Kishan. Why is
Yes.
it to her disadvantage?
I also want to share my perspective from an
Yes, sorry, yes.
organizational context of a silo. In my corporate leadership experience, when organizations, people, teams are working in silos, there's a lack of collaboration, a lack of cross-functional engagement. We're not talking to each other. Sales is in their own box and world, and marketing is operating in isolation, and engineering is operating in isolation, and it creates a sense of internal tension that is not helpful for innovation, moving forward, for progress, revenue, and
Yeah.
it just speaks to a negative experience with
A
organizational disconnect.
disconnected, yeah, culture.
Disconnect. So working in isolation, people do it individually for reasons of wanting to feel safe, of wanting to protect. And I can see that how that can happen also in groups and in teams and in organizations. So solo and siloed, we're starting with the siloed, and we want to share not only individual ways that people can build bridges in their careers for themselves to uplift themselves and to grow and progress in their careers, but also things that organizations should be doing to help
Right.
people do that.
Right. Okay. So let's think of one of the disadvantages of
Yeah.
being siloed. And that one of the things, and especially in today's environment where everything is moving so fast and technology is at the helm of everything,
Yep.
it's so easy to become obsolete.
Ooh.
Back in the day, like when I mean, I'm older than I look, y'all, but back in the day, when you looked at somebody's
As am I,
resume,
because
you,
it doesn't crack. So you can't tell.
back
Yes.
in the day when you looked at the resume, you actually valued someone where you saw had like 5-10 years experience in one company. That was a great thing.
True.
In today's fast moving accelerated environment, that actually looks like somebody's like, it's like, what else have they
That's
done? You
true.
want to see more. It's like, that's
Yes.
all. That's one job, this one thing, 20 years of the same thing. So that ability to show adaptability, variety, multidisciplinary skill sets, that is so needed. And you want to be able to showcase that you are multifaceted, as most of us are. Most
Yeah.
of us aren't able to, or shouldn't want to be boxed in any kind of one area, small area of expertise. You want to be able to say, I'm good at this, that, and that, like have multiple lanes that we can shine and thrive in. And so the biggest disadvantage I see is that becoming, as I use that word, obsolete, becoming almost invisible, because while your skills might still be valued, you won't be the person they look to for promotable, and you won't be seen as a leader because you're literally like the expert in that field, the producer, the executor, the doer, not the leader, not
Wow.
leadership potential. So that's a real disadvantage of being siloed.
Yes, and I can see how that would affect me personally. It would affect the money that I'm able to bring home. It affects me long term, how I'm not able to advance, to save, to invest, to grow financially. There's a financial limitation for me. And I can also see the financial limitation for organizations who are
Right.
not able to really pull from that cross divisional or cross functional knowledge. There's that experiential know-how that's deep within individuals who may have only seen how to do one thing or worked in one field
And
or
one
realm.
way, yeah,
Yes,
one structure, and that, and so so the company would have to go outside to find
that's
people who
it.
can do different things. So that's like not taking advantage of the current the valued expertise that's there, because they only have a limited bandwidth, so they
Yes,
have to go outside to find new expertise, which isn't good for the company, isn't good
right.
for the individuals, right?
It's not, because people on an individual level, I wouldn't feel like I'm being cultivated from my organization. I don't have opportunity. Where are the opportunities for me to grow as a leader? Where are the opportunities for me to even learn that I am a solo and siloed practitioner? I didn't even have that perspective. I didn't even have that view of myself.
Right.
It's not provided and presented within the organizational context at leadership development workshops, ERG functions, and things of that nature, where I could hear this kind of understanding and information to self-reflect, to make different
Mhm.
choices for myself, to challenge myself, to grow,
To
to
grow, and that's the thing. I mean, so this posture of I'm always learning, I'm always
I love
growing,
that.
having that mindset, that posture, because so that's when you're open to, I want to learn this new skill set, I want to learn this new technology, I want to learn this new process, and that's when you say, I wonder what it would be like to work on this with this team, with this in this department. Like, so literally shifting. I have one of my clients, I mean, she shifted from being a or what was it called, like a project manager in a specific area, to
Mhm.
going into the broader realm of her big organization, where
Yes.
she became into the leadership realm, because it was more of a nationwide role as opposed to a
Mhm.
specific team role based role with
Yes.
a specific function. she
Mhm.
she jumped, and it was very scary because she had no, that's the thing, you have to take the leap. She had
Yep.
to take a leap where she didn't have the foundation of, well, I know how to do this, because she hadn't done that quite before. But of
Right.
course, with the guidance of me, and with her own self-belief, and the people around her, that she was able to grow, and now she's flourishing in this role. And now it's like, well, what's the next thing, because she's been there now for a couple of years, right? So that ability to say, I've worked in, let's say, engineering, and
Mhm.
being an engineer, and managing this team for 7 years, but I want to be more than just a chief engineer. I don't know what the titles might be. I want
Right.
to get outside that box,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Right.
So yes, so that's the other thing. And I wanted, sorry, this other point just came to me, and it's
Yes.
about visibility. So when we're siloed, we kind of
Mhm.
tend to be invisible,
Yes.
and that's a huge not one disadvantage. It's a huge drawback to
Mhm.
anyone who is looking for more money, more impact, more
Yes.
influence. And those are the three things I didn't say in the beginning that I
Yes.
care about. We all care about. We all want more income. We all want to be impactful. And most of us want to be influential in our arena. When you are invisible because you've been siloed and soloed, you could go into that as well,
Mhm.
then you lose out on so many opportunities for growth and expansion. Speak to that,
Mm.
Kishan.
Whew. I just, that really resonates with me personally, personally, because I personally have experience and go back in my mind in my career of when I loved what I did, and it was very important to me to do good work, and I was very heads down, putting out great results and doing good work. But yet year after year found myself not being tapped for promotion,
Mm-hmm.
and not having the conversations regularly enough, not being invited to have the conversations, even to where when I did, instead of expanding my horizons, I feel like there was a sense of just keeping me where I was. Where
Right. Dimming your light a bit.
yes, I was doing that unbeknownst to me, because it was habitual for me, the way that I
Right.
was.
And you knew you were good at it, and you
Yes.
felt good about that, but not realizing that I'm kind of stuck. You actually plateaued. You
Yes.
plateaued.
Yes, and the organization, the way it was structured, the way that the leadership that was in place, they also didn't utilize the resources, tools, have the skill set or awareness to help me. to get out of that box. If I'm doing a good, I'm saying, as a worker, as an employee, if I'm creating great results in the role where I am, and I'm expressing the desire for more, I think that leadership needs to be aware of
Yeah.
what that could potentially be, and have somewhere to send me, have a mentorship program to direct me to, have some type of talent development track for
Hmm.
me, have some type of coaching program.
Incentives.
Yes, yes. So I'm thinking that when this happens, it's the convergence of both individual habituated actions day to day. I do what I'm familiar with. I'm in this zone.
Yes.
I'm from my
I'm
lens.
doing great because I'm doing, yes.
Yes. So there's that. And then there's the convergence of the organizational culture and the people, which is top down. Leadership is who makes culture run,
Hmm.
right? And so they have to have programs in place. It has to be programmatic. It has to be something that we talk about, where you bring visibility and people understand and know what's available. It's
Right.
not
And it
something
has,
that's hidden. It's something that we see. There is recognition. There is
yeah.
awareness. There is something that's programmatic, that options that are programmatic, that are put into place to where people could know where to put themselves, or where to go.
And that requires some kind of master plan, I guess, and also a bigger vision, right? So not just a vision for the company in terms of financial, meaning the financial metrics, but the vision for the employees that are in that company. Like, what is the plan? How do we make sure that we are amending the broken rung that we know exists in most
Yes,
workplaces? How are companies coming
yes,
in saying, okay, new leadership, okay, we want to make sure our employees are thriving. We want to make sure that there are enough managers that can move to directors, can move to VPs. How are we making preparing the foundation so that
preparing.
those different
Yes,
rungs of the ladder are all met, especially when they're a woman in that workplace. And that's a
yes,
big, huge gap. We know it as for women in leadership is that broken rung. And so companies have to come in with proactively leadership in the company, have to come in proactively thinking, how can we mend this? How can we add this rung and build this rung up? So there's not this big gap. And so now when we get to leadership, there's like 1% or less of women in leadership, right? So
yes.
but that also requires, yes, so it's the individual and organizational. And I guess the other aspect to that, go ahead.
I was thinking the management in between, because typically people don't leave companies, they leave bad managers or managers
Yes,
who are ill prepared and who were not trained on how to lead people. They might have been very accomplished individual contributors themselves.
that's the
Who did
thing.
That happens so often in the people that we see come through in our coaching engagements, where these individual contributors who were stellar at what they did,
They were
they might,
producers. They were
yes,
good at producing, but not good at leading, not good at team building, not good at
yes,
relational, management. And
that's
so,
right.
Shannon and I, a lot of times when we've spoken in these lives, we talked about how leadership is more about being than doing, and also to be
Yes.
a great leader requires for you to be inside, to be very self-aware, to be very
Yes,
mature, and have and certain communication skills and things in place.
yes,
And so, yes, a lot of times management is unhealthy because they have not been groomed, they have not been
that's
taught
right,
and told and mentored enough to know how to manage other people. So you have
right.
the faulty management, then people start leaving because
Yes,
they're unhappy, and or they feel whatever, they feel not acknowledged, not being
invisible. Yes,
invisible, all the
yes,
things. And so you have the downsides, not just for the individual person and woman, but for the company and the culture. And so the flip side of being solo, we siloed, and so we didn't get
yes,
into solo. Let's, look at the time. Let's
yeah,
talk about solo real quickly. So solo, it's obvious probably, but let's say what that is.
yeah. I would say, from my perspective, it refers to individuals who are working independently. It refers to, in my mind, the first thing that comes to mind are those individual contributors and then, so there is the personality trait of just being a solo lone wolf type of person who
Yep.
approaches work, and there are reasons for that.
Yep.
Avoiding opportunities to collaborate, to network, to expand your horizons when it comes to working collectively. So you have more of an individual mindset. So it can be a personality trait. And then also practitioner. You can be like just an individual practitioner. Maybe you're
Hmm.
specialized in your expertise. Even that. even people who fit either one of those realms, what I've learned through my neuroscience training and what I had to come to terms with even as an individual is that I need people. I need
We all need people.
community. It's like I can't do any of this alone. But so often, oh my gosh, it just came up in a coaching conversation last week with a highly intellect is one thing, you know, highly intelligent, capable, knowledge-bearing person who has no support, who feels a lack of support professionally, personally. And so what I work with clients on is building, if that's a ladder, building the rungs of support for themselves as individuals, because that will be utilized to climb as well. That will be utilized to grow
Absolutely.
and
I
expand.
mean, and sorry, let me cut you.
Oh, go ahead. No, yes, go ahead. Yes.
So that gets into me, like, so I mean, this is because my own experience in my career, I did not have mentors. Again, I'm an immigrant.
That's
So
right.
I got my first job and was there for 15 years. Different, but I would say, I look back and I'm like, I was very adaptable. I was on many different teams. I jumped a lot of different places. But every time I advocated for myself. So that's the other thing. You have to know how to advocate for what you want. You have to know to say, like, well, this team isn't going anywhere. Let me go and look at the other team. And you have to be very aware of what's happening around you, not be just so focused on your job and your role that you're not seeing the fallouts in the bigger organization. But the other thing, so me not having a mentor, back to that, and knowing that the difference it would have made in terms of knowing where I could have positioned myself, how I could have advocated even better than I was doing on my own, makes me so a big proponent of the success squad, as I call it, and especially when it comes to sponsorship. And like, even more than mentors, the advocates and sponsors who are literally going to use their leverage and their platforms to help you elevate and uplift you in your professional career. But to get to those sponsors, you have to even know it exists. Number one, you have to even know, like, what to do to get. I did not know of those things when I was working as an employee.
Same. As a person only. Yes, in my
and now that I do, like, and sharing in my book, It's Your Time to Shine, girl, that one of my friends who told me her story, it blew my mind. She was lucky to get a sponsor early enough in her career, and that sponsor, I mean, this is crazy. That sponsor, a woman, helped her get her next 4 roles in different companies.
Incredible.
And right now she's in the C-suite. And she got that role from that sponsor. And I literally, my jaw dropped as I heard a story. And it was just like, she formed a bond. They kept connecting. And this person just kept on elevating her and giving her. Because here's the thing with sponsorship, especially, this last role, she had applied for the role herself directly, didn't get any gaze on it. When the sponsor came in and spoke to the people she knew inside, guess what happened? She now had to prove that why they wouldn't hire her, right? Because the sponsor had already advocated and said how amazing she was. So all she had to do is show up and say, this is me and here's what I do. And literally the job was hers. Sponsorship is gold. But even if you can't get to that right away, finding that mentor, that person you can say, help me understand how to do this better. What do I have to ask when I want to get us out? Like, it was within your company, outside your company. As a coach, we coaches are actually mentors as well. I mean, people don't see us that way, but that's actually what we're doing as well. So half the time is like giving perspectives and advice that our clients wouldn't see on their own. So that success squad is gold. It's everything. This idea, and again, me being somebody who had to navigate my journey for many, many years on my own, I thought that was the way to do it. Even when I launched into entrepreneurship, I'm like, I got this. I'm going to do it. Was Natalie with Natalie, you know?
Yes, that's right.
Now in this iteration of a new business, that's the reason I'm collaborating with Kashawn.
Yes. We've learned our lesson. We've learned not to operate in that way. My personal experience just growing up, I'm the eldest of 4 children. I had the intellect, thankfully, thank you, God. It's like, I'm a learner. I enjoy learning. I enjoy knowledge. And so I would always hear, oh, Keyshawn, you're smart. You'll figure it out. Keyshawn, you're smart. You'll figure it out. And that became the talk track in my mind. I'm smart. I'll figure it out. But there's a whole nother level of smart I had no exposure to, no awareness of. That was the relationship development kind of smart, the kind that's not so self-reliant, the kind that just reaches out and can actually vocalize, I need help in this way. This is the kind of help I need. So
knowing how to vocalize is a big thing in itself. Like, even knowing how to act, And
Yes.
even, first of all, even being aware of the need, we have one,
That
and then asking and being vulnerable enough to say, I lack
vulnerability.
this, I need that.
Oh, that right there, skill. Okay, that is a skill building experience, and it's taken years to get to the point where I am now, where now it's more just a habit. It's like intuitive. It just happens. I'm in
Yeah.
the flow of it. But it took, there were steps that I had to climb. There
Yes.
were times when I had to fall and experience um just depletion, feeling completely depleted, burnout, I'll say. I had to experience trials and tribulations to get to the point of where I'm learning the lessons that we so now easily share
Yeah.
freely, like how we do on this platform.
And I would say, I think it's a thing with the high achieving women that
Yeah.
we were, and we still are,
Yes.
but we're more healthier
Recovering.
in that, healthier high achievers. But as high achievers, you have that mindset of, I can figure it out, I got
Mm,
this.
yeah,
And we think that's like, we actually hold it as a banner of pride,
we
and like,
do.
but it don't, not realizing that, okay, but only so far, because honestly, that's not the way to really accelerate and
It's true.
get to where you need. Talking about building bridges to success,
Right.
the best way to build a bridge is to have a village, a community, a tribe, a
Yes.
team of people who are
A
for you
squad.
to help you walk across the daggone bridge.
Because the high achiever orientation and a way in which we were living our lives at one point, I was thinking as you were talking, takes us further outside of our natural humanity and more into like a
Mm,
robotic machine like way of existing, checklist oriented, very just automated.
cognitive.
Yes, yes, instead of just being fully in ourselves, vulnerable and willing to collaborate, willing
Yeah.
to co-create, willing to partner, willing to support. And I love that you brought up mentorship because it's two-way. It's not one directional. So I can be someone's mentor and have a mentee, but actually they're sharing information and knowledge with me that's mentoring and supporting me. It's bi-directional.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
that's what we need. That's the kind of community we need. And I wanted to ask one final question because we're going to wrap up
Yeah.
about just identifying the bridges. So I feel like you have laid those out. So community, squad, mentorship, sponsors, coaching. Is there any other type of bridge that you wanted to speak to? And then I'm going to share some organizational bridges that we need to have in place as well.
In terms of the solo, right? So,
Yes.
I think allies. I mean, we didn't talk about allies.
Oh,
So allies would be your colleagues, right? So that's huge too. Like, so having people around you where you can like say, this happened to me, and share experiences, learn from their mistakes, they learn from your mistakes, give you perspective too. So allies are all part of that as well, even though they're on the same level typically, or even could even be lower than you. It's not about the rank. It's about the community, the people who are for you, who want to see you succeed and thrive, and that will do what they need to do within their influence and domain to support you. So that could be above you in terms of mentors, sponsors, coaches, or it could be on the same level as you. That is
mhm.
part of your team, and that is part of what creates a culture of
Yes.
of um, a healthy culture of collaboration,
Yes.
a healthy culture of connection, a healthy culture of belonging. When people can
Mhm.
come together at all the different levels and see each other as the beings, humans, like we're saying, human beings, not
Yes.
human doings that we are.
Yes. If I was to think of the bridge, like the language we would use to bridge solo and siloed, so where we're going, it would be connected and collaborative
Hmm.
or integrated and inclusive. So to
Yeah.
go from to just use that
Yes.
alliteration
Yes.
to
Yes.
try to play on those words. So these are just some ideas to think about. Where are we bridging to? This is the result. This is the outcome that we want to bridge to. I want to see myself no longer as solo and siloed. I want to see myself now as more integrated and inclusive, or more connected and
I
collaborative.
love
I can
that. I love
say
that.
that, I can stand in that truth and see all the practices that I have that are in alignment with that. So you can see the difference. You can see how you close the gap. You can see how
Yeah.
the transformation and the process can unfold.
And I want to say just quickly, like when I think of, I don't know, because we talk about resume. When I think of a resume and you see like when you see somebody with a resume and there's just one set of stuff, the same stuff over and over
Mhm.
again, that is not attractive. That's not compelling. When you see a person's resume with different multi-skill sets,
Yes.
different integrated together, but like you can see that
Whew.
they're multifaceted. Like
Yes.
guess what that happens? It happens when you open yourself up, when you're not solo and siloed, but when you're saying integrated and inclusive, when you're
Yes.
doing all the things to be a part of a community, be open yourself to learning new things, be adventurous, be open, be curious, be willing to try what's not like my client, when even when it feels like I don't know how to do that, I haven't done that before. But
Mm.
when you learn it, you're like, I am good at this too, and seeing yourself
Ah,
in the new layer, you
yes.
and the
The
and
and too. And I
yeah,
love adding the word yet. I can't do this yet. You know, it's like you just add yet to the end of any type of
right.
statement about
I
where
will
you
I
are
will get
now.
there. I'm not there right now, but I don't have to be so
Yes.
worried, right? So gosh, Sean, look at the time already.
I
Crazy.
know we're already at 30 minutes. I wanted to just two or three points I wanted to share about what organizations can do to help their employees and help their culture become a more connected and collaborative culture. Do some things like coffee chats, so they can be virtual coffee chats. I've been in organizations that do that
Mm,
very well, and it's programmatic. Like I said, everyone in the organization knows that this is a program that is ongoing, where people can sign up with anyone in the organization and learn about what they do, to network and to collaborate. Have some type of coaching and mentorship program that is made available and that is communicated about, that managers know about, people leaders know about, that they can share with their employees, the people who report to them, so they can know where to send people who want
yeah.
to grow and who no longer want to be solo and siloed. They want to expand and grow and possibly move around or move up in their career. Those are two things that I think are simple, easy to do. We have many more, including our program
What
that
I
I'm
was going to say, the great segue to the
yes.
Savvy Sisterhood Circle,
Yes.
our leadership development program for organizations and companies who are looking to elevate their women, give them a space to learn about really important topics and pillars that we have outlined, and also to collaborate and connect with each other and to rise
Yes.
and thrive. And we, Prashant's put the link. We have a lead magnet. I don't know what I want to call it that. We have a
A
resource that would
resource.
the resource
Yes.
that you can find on our platform on Podia, Savvy Sisterhood Circle. But we are, so excited about this program because, again, back to everything we're talking about, at the end of the day, it's individual, but it's also organizational. And for
Yes.
anybody who's listening who has that influence to start a program and to want to learn more, we are
Yes.
here to share more about what Savvy Sisterhood Circle is about and how we as coaches and as women who have walked the walk and now talk the talk and still walk the walk,
Right.
how we can support and build up that team and that woman group in your company or organization so that they stay and they're happy, they're fulfilled, and they are rising and thriving.
I couldn't have said that better. Thank you all so much. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We provided the links, and we'll be back again soon with another compelling topic. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.